Am I the a-hole for telling the whole family about my cousin having intercourse with her boyfriend? Hey Reddit. It all started at my aunt's house during a family gathering, one of those big reunions where everyone pretends to be closer than they actually are. My cousin, Lisa, has always been the golden child, the one who could do no wrong in my aunt and uncle's eyes. She was the straight A student, the one who played piano at church, the one who never got in trouble. Meanwhile, I was the cousin who barely passed school, took up a trade instead of college, and got side-eyed for having tattoos. My parents weren't exactly proud of me compared to her. That day, everything seemed normal at first. The usual small talk, the usual fake smiles, the same old passive-aggressive comments about life choices. But then, my younger cousin, who's like 12, comes up to me and tells me she overheard Lisa talking to her best friend in the backyard. Apparently, Lisa had been sneaking her boyfriend into her house when her parents were out and had been sleeping with him for months. My little cousin had no idea what any of that really meant, but she knew it sounded like a big deal. And it was. Now, I could have kept my mouth shut. I could have just let Lisa live her life and kept the peace. But here's the thing, Lisa wasn't just the golden child. She was also the most judgmental person I knew. She would constantly shame me for my choices, call me reckless, tell me I was a disappointment to the family. And yet here she was, sneaking around and breaking the same moral code she pretended to uphold. That didn't sit right with me. So I told my mom first. Just casually, like, "Oh, did you hear Lisa has been letting her boyfriend stay over while her parents are out?" She was shocked but also intrigued. My mom has always loved a little family drama. So of course, she told my aunt, who then told my uncle, and before I knew it, the entire family was buzzing about Lisa's little secret. The moment it exploded was at dinner. My uncle, Lisa's dad, stood up, looked right at her, and asked in front of everyone if it was true. Lisa's face went pale. The whole room went silent. She stammered, tried to deny it at first, but my little cousin, bless her innocent soul, spoke up and said she had heard Lisa bragging about it. That was it. Lisa broke down crying, my uncle started yelling about how she was ruining her future, my aunt looked like she was about to faint, and suddenly, everyone had an opinion. Some of my older relatives started going on about how this was disgraceful, how Lisa had been leading a double life. My grandmother, who was the most religious person in the family, kept shaking her head and muttering about sin. My uncle kept shouting, demanding to know how long this had been going on, and Lisa just sobbed, saying it wasn't a big deal, that she was in love, that she was being treated like a criminal for something normal. I just sat back and watched. I won't lie, there was a little bit of satisfaction seeing the princess of the family get knocked off her pedestal. But then Lisa turned to me, eyes full of betrayal, and said, "This is your fault, you started this." I scoffed. "My fault? You made your choices. You just didn't want to get caught. That only made things worse." My uncle then turned on me, demanding to know why I spread it around instead of coming to him directly. He accused me of enjoying Lisa's downfall. I didn't even deny it. I told him Lisa had no problem judging me all these years, making me feel like I was less than her. But now that the tables had turned, she wanted pity. That set off another argument, with half the family saying I was right and the other half saying I had no right to expose her like that. Lisa ran upstairs crying while my aunt followed, trying to calm her down. My uncle kept pacing, shaking his head like he had just found out his daughter was some criminal. Meanwhile, the rest of the family just kept gossiping. Some of my cousins whispered about how they weren't surprised, how Lisa had always acted perfect but had a rebellious side they had seen glimpses of. Others thought I had gone too far. After dinner, my mom pulled me aside and told me I should have handled it differently. She wasn't mad, just a little disappointed. "You didn't have to put her on blast like that," she said. But I shrugged. If it had been me in Lisa's place, she wouldn't have hesitated to call me out. And honestly, I was tired of being the family screw-up when clearly, none of us were perfect. The fallout was worse than I expected. Lisa refused to speak to me after that night. My uncle and aunt were furious with me and basically told my parents I wasn't welcome at their house anymore. My mom and dad were frustrated because now there was a full-blown rift in the family. And of course, some relatives took my side, saying Lisa had been a hypocrite and deserved to be called out. Others thought I was out of line for humiliating her like that. And now, I'm sitting here wondering if I went too far. Was it really my place to expose her like that, or was it justified because she had spent years looking down on me and acting like she was better? I didn't lie. I didn't make anything up. I just let the truth come out. But now the family is in chaos, and I'm not sure if I made things worse than they needed to be. So, am I the a-hole for telling the whole family about my cousin having intercourse with her boyfriend? Update. Things have only gotten more chaotic since that night. Lisa has completely cut me off. She blocked me on everything, and according to one of my other cousins, she's been telling everyone that I ruined her life. My aunt and uncle are still furious, and they've made it clear to my parents that they don't want me around. My mom is upset about it, but my dad thinks they're overreacting. He says they're just embarrassed that their perfect daughter got exposed and that they're taking it out on me instead of dealing with the fact that Lisa was the one sneaking around. But here's where things get even worse. Lisa's boyfriend found out about the whole mess. Apparently, Lisa had kept everything under wraps, and his family had no idea about any of this. Well, they do now. One of my nosy aunts, who lives for drama, somehow found the boyfriend's mom on Facebook and spilled everything. And now, his parents are pissed too. They think Lisa is a bad influence and have forbidden their son from seeing her. So now Lisa isn't just mad at me, she's heartbroken. She's been locked in her room, crying for days, and my aunt is blaming me for destroying her daughter's happiness. I honestly didn't expect it to escalate like this. I thought she'd be embarrassed for a while, maybe get grounded, but now it's turned into a full-blown Romeo and Juliet situation, and the entire family is choosing sides. I still don't think I did anything wrong. Lisa was the one lying and sneaking around, and she had no problem judging me all these years. But seeing how everything has fallen apart, I'm starting to wonder if I underestimated the impact this would have. I didn't think it would blow up to the point where she might actually lose her relationship over it. But at the same time, I can't help but think, if this was such a huge deal, why wasn't she more careful if she didn't want her boyfriend's family to find out? Why was she bragging about it in the backyard during a family gathering? If she was mature enough to make those choices, she should be mature enough to face the consequences, right? I don't know. My parents are split on whether I did the right thing. My dad is still on my side, but my mom is saying I should apologize just to smooth things over. But honestly, I don't think Lisa would even accept an apology at this point. And now, apparently, there's going to be a family meeting to discuss everything. This is getting out of hand. I'll update again after that. Another update. Well, the family meeting was an absolute disaster. I don't know why I expected anything different. Everyone gathered at my grandparents' house, and right away, it was clear this wasn't going to be a calm discussion. My uncle came in already fuming, my aunt looked like she had been crying, and Lisa, well, she refused to look at me at all. The moment we sat down, my uncle immediately demanded that I apologize. He said I had publicly humiliated Lisa and caused her unnecessary pain. My aunt kept saying I had destroyed the family bond and that my actions were vindictive. I wasn't about to sit there and take it, though. I told them that Lisa had spent years treating me like I was beneath her, shaming me for not being as perfect as she pretended to be. And yet, when she got caught doing something she would have ripped me apart for, suddenly I was the villain. I told them that if Lisa didn't want the truth coming out, she shouldn't have been bragging about it in the first place. That only made things worse. Lisa finally spoke up then, but instead of taking any responsibility, she went full victim mode. She said I had set her up to be humiliated, that I enjoyed watching her suffer, and that I was just bitter and jealous. That pissed me off. I told her I didn't ruin her life, she did. She was the one sneaking around. She was the one lying to her parents. And she was the one who was dumb enough to talk about it where a 12-year-old could hear. At that point, my grandma stepped in and tried to calm things down, but it was useless. My uncle kept yelling, Lisa kept crying, my mom was trying to get me to back down, and my dad was just sitting there with his arms crossed like he was watching a soap opera. Eventually, my grandfather had enough and shut it down. He basically told everyone that we were acting like children, that the drama was ridiculous, and that this wasn't something that should be tearing the family apart. The meeting ended with no resolution. My aunt and uncle left angry, Lisa stormed out, and now my family is more divided than ever. My mom is still saying I should try to make peace, but my dad says I should just move on and stop worrying about it. But here's the real kicker, Lisa's boyfriend reached out to me. He actually thanked me for exposing everything. Turns out, Lisa had been lying to him too. She had told him that her parents were super chill about their relationship and that they were okay with him staying over. Now that he knows the truth, he's rethinking their whole relationship. Lisa doesn't know he talked to me yet. But when she finds out, I have a feeling this drama isn't over. Final update. I wish I could say this all blew over, but it didn't. If anything, it got even worse. Lisa did find out that her boyfriend talked to me. And she lost it. She sent me a long, rage-filled text telling me that I was a vindictive snake, that I had ruined her life beyond repair, and that she would never forgive me. Then she went nuclear. She tried to spin the whole thing around and tell the family that I manipulated her boyfriend into turning against her. She was trying to make me the villain in every possible way. But here's where karma hit her hard. Her boyfriend dumped her. Completely. He told her he didn't trust her anymore and that if she could lie about something this big, who knew what else she was lying about? That sent Lisa into a full meltdown. She locked herself in her room for days, refused to talk to anyone, and according to my cousin, she even deleted all her social media. My aunt and uncle are still furious with me. They've made it clear that they want nothing to do with me, at least for now. They're blaming me for everything, even though all I did was tell the truth. But honestly, I don't care anymore. Lisa isn't a victim. She got caught in her own web of lies, and now she's dealing with the fallout. As for the rest of the family, it's still divided. Some people think I was justified, while others think I should have just kept my mouth shut. My parents are stuck in the middle. My mom still wishes I had handled it differently, but my dad says Lisa got exactly what she deserved. At this point, I'm done with it. If Lisa wants to spend the rest of her life hating me, that's her choice. But I'm not going to feel bad for telling the truth. Maybe next time, she won't be so quick to judge others while pretending she's perfect. And as for me, I think I'll enjoy the peace and quiet now that I don't have to deal with her anymore. That's all for today's video, folks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for more exciting content. See you next time.